The Electric Affinities by Wade Stevenson. Chapter 1. It was the 4th of July, the first official weekend of summer, and the broad lawn at Ben Steinberg's house in Sag Harbor was crowded with editors, artists, writers, architects, decorators, models, and movie and theater people. André Cartier, a film director, was speaking. He was a burly, rather aggressive young man in his late 20s. The fireworks ought to form a pattern like, let's say, the American flag, red, white, and blue, unfurled, exploding against the night sky. I see the image lasting for an instant, and then being torn apart by a rocket shooting through the center of the stars. Ben moved about his guests, his arms around the shoulders of Robert Lord and his girlfriend Carolina Cook. He introduced them to his friends, saying, "They're just back from California and are going to spend a few days with me. They're the most charming couple I know." Over the bay, the sun was about to drop into the slot of the horizon like a flaming coin. The light floated, fine, superb. Guests talked loudly, confidently, gaily, discussing new projects, plans, and mutual friends with the faint arrogance of those who have earned their holidays. There was no hint of anything wrong, of anything that could possibly go wrong. Satisfied, yet seeking more pleasure, the guests swarmed around the food on the buffet table like hungry birds. Laid across the table were plates of tiny meatballs, Virginia ham, and several varieties of pâté. One of the guests commented wryly, "Americans don't like their innards. They sell them to the French, who sell them back to us as pâté." The arms of the handsome young caterers rose up and down as they pumped drink after drink out of endless bottles. Under the shadows of the century-old trees beyond, people were sitting in a circle on the lawn, quietly talking. A curious American tree with some of its limbs lopped off towered over them. There was an abundance of pretty girls, their faces masked by sunglasses, all perhaps desiring to meet that man who could unmask them, or take them away from that slight edge of superiority their dark glasses gave them. Cars streamed up the long driveway that wound through bushes and trees. All those who could afford it, and many who could not, had left the city and found their way here. They greeted each other with quiet, formal gestures of welcome. There were many quiet, friendly young men wearing colorful clothes with a vaguely hippie-ish appearance. Small, well-toned, pretty women talked eagerly and enthusiastically. Ben did his best to point out his friends to Robert and Carolina. "There," he said, "is Irving Salzman, the decorator. That lovely Japanese woman putting a drink to her lips is Fumi Fuiji Tofuiji, Buckminster's Fuller's assistant." Blonde, fragile, bubbling with her airy laughter, Carolina teased, "Fuiji or not to Fuiji?" Robert helped himself to another vodka. He noticed that everyone had the rather modish appearance of watered-down, slightly stylized hippies. Ben steered Robert and Carolina toward a particularly stylish couple. "Do you see that tall, lean man with the serious but friendly face speaking French with Louise? He's one of the editors of Vogue. He has 30 people working for him and lives alone near the creek." Robert was about to ask which one was Louise when Ben divulged. "She's a French woman from Paris, spending the summer here with the most interesting woman on the island." Before Robert had a chance to find out who the most interesting woman on the island was, Ben was talking to Louise, telling her that she ought to find herself a guy. Louise apparently was very excited. She had put on a see-through knit dress. Her hips, thighs, breasts could be seen without any difficulty. Although her proportions were modest, she was very well shaped, curvaceous, and compact. After Ben had introduced them, Louise asked if her costume flattered her. Before Robert could answer, she added, "But the shawl isn't mine. It belongs to Maya." For the first time since he had come back from California a few days ago, Robert felt excited, free, tuned in. The lovely 4th of July party on the lawn, the sun sinking over the bay, the presence of the flashy guests, the kindness of Ben. The fact that it was the beginning of summer, the Polish vodka, all had gone to his head. He forgot the horrors of the Vietnam War. He forgot Carolina and the difficulties he had with her. It was as if he had jumped out of his skin and mind and begun to live. Standing nearby, Ellen, the editor of Architecture Today, was getting quite drunk, wobbly and tough. Her woman friend who lived with her had grown even tougher and smarter with her tongue and was telling Louise how much she hated the French. "But I agree," said Louise, astonishing everyone. You know, I much prefer the Americans to the French. I came to America in search of a new life. As the old sun set, the bay shone with light, atmatized in the evening vapors. The party drifted, flowed, groups broke apart, reformed. People permeated. Ice clinked in glasses. Upon the porch, two well-known pianists began to play a duet. The air breezing over the water was cool and refreshing. Jack Mandel, head of the Vietnam desk in Washington, was trying to defend the disaster of Hamburger Hill, where 241 Americans were recently killed, to some of his weekend friends. More and more liquor flowed as the lights over the bridge to Sag Harbor flickered. Carolina took in the extravagance of her surroundings. Swinging her bag, absent-mindedly she watched as Norman Mailer engaged Jack Mandel in a vigorous debate about the war and whether the U.S. was right to bomb Laos. Suddenly the chain handle broke and her purse fell to the ground. "Oh no," she exclaimed. "Robbie, look, it's broken." He grabbed for the bag before its contents could spill out. "A screw came loose. I'll fix it. You stay with the guests." He headed off across the broad lawn to the house. In the kitchen he used a knife to replace the screw. He was just finishing the job when it slipped and cut his finger. It came so quickly, the blood, he thought, as he hurried to the bathroom for a Band-Aid. He hoped it wasn't an omen for the summer. He came back outside down the porch past Ben's bronze Giacometti-like sculptures, past the gay piano players, into the deep, exotic evening that, as a bow with fruit, seemed to be laden with promises and expectancies to be plucked for the simple asking. Fruit with selections of French cheese was being served for dessert. As he walked past various guests, he overheard bits of their conversations. "Where should we put our plates? Why doesn't someone bring out something for the garbage?" A stunning, serpentine girl approached Robert and asked, "But what do you think of God?" "If he's there at all, he's probably laughing it up with some woman right now," Robert responded, and watched with pleasure as the discomforted lady slithered away. Carolina, her funny Turkish pants flapping in the breeze, stood out on the edge of the grass near the fence where the apple trees grew, eagerly scanning the horizon that glowed with darkness, as if looking for some sign. No matter what she did, Carolina always managed to be like a sentinel on the outpost, the frontier of things. She never let herself be assimilated to any group. Carolina wasn't even her given name. She had chosen it because she said it sounded free. Nearby, in the illuminated waters of the swimming pool, a few daring girls, anxious for publicity, had stripped and were leaping nakedly around, giggling. Ben grabbed Robert. "There, take a look. Have you ever seen a woman with green eyes and 6 bracelets on her arm? I damn sure never have. Come, I want you to meet Maya. Aside from you and Carolina, she and Andre are my favorite couple." Maya was wearing a white lace vintage dress that accentuated her willowy, elegant figure. On the stem of her neck she wore a black velvet cameo choker. The moment Robert saw her, from the very first glance, he felt troubled by her in a way that he had never felt before. She did indeed have gorgeous green eyes, and wore a kind of extravagant curly wig that crowned her head and gave her an imperial look. She had a way of constantly inventing herself with a fantastic allure that had the effect of a bomb upon those who saw her for the first time. Robert would later learn more about her incredible sense of theater, of disguise, combined with the airs of an empress, something regal and superb that mocked itself through play, that delighted in creating a series of illusions and sleight-of-hand appearances so that you could never tell where she began and where she ended, what was her and what was not her, or even if she existed at all. But Maya did exist. Behind all her lacy camouflage there was something precise, joyous, and powerful. Robert hesitated, hung back. It looked as if they were interrupting a scene. Maya, the girl with the green eyes and the exuberant wig, was saying, "Andre, I beg of you, will you please be quiet?" The film director, using his fingers like claws, raked his nails into her flesh above her stacked bracelets. His angry mouth blasted words into her ear. "Suicide, despair, luxury of the rich, you say? You know damn well we're all just wolves prowling around the fire, looking for something to warm us. Now that we've got the summer ahead of us, why not be free?" Superb without moving, with a proud and savage serenity, Maya answered, "If you think I'm going to be your sheep." Seeing the others approach, Andre stopped. They both stood in an uneasy truce, fiercely glancing at each other like animals at bay. Radiant spokes reflected from under Maya's lashes. She sneezed, held her nose so that the sneeze was choked through her mouth. "Pardon me, all the flowers, scents in the air." Ben introduced Robert. Carolina appeared. Andre drained his glass, trying to muffle his rage. Maya said, "Would you excuse me, please? I would like to wash my hands." There was a droplet of blood on her arms. Her eyes glistened with moisture, the radiant spokes of the fake eyelashes becoming undone. "Do you have a repair kit with you?" asked Ben. She laughed. "No, absolutely nothing." Eluding the encounter, anxious to be alone with her own feelings, Maya bounded away, stooping to pick up some lavender flowers. She struck Robert with the impact of a revelation. He had never seen a woman who united within her such grace, extravagance, and dignity. He had already decided. I must have this woman. It is absolutely necessary to my life that I have her and make her mine. The dark pool waters hid the dangerous nudity of the girls. Tirelessly they swam back and forth as if celebrating some forgotten ceremony. Maya came back out, turning her head sideways. She looked washed, refreshed. Her long Nefertiti neck rose up. Was it possible that she loved Andre? Ben was conversing with some famous writer who summered in the Hamptons when Carolina snapped. "For goodness sake, let's stop talking about the meaning of art and literature. We've been stuffed with that fare for more than 2,000 years. Let's just enjoy the air, the sparkling water, the evening, and the delicious company of ourselves. No need to go any further. We are here. We are it. We are what's happening, baby." The summer of 1969 had begun. The people around them, they were chattering a lot about revolution and discontent in Vietnam and the unlivableness of the cities. Gradually the evening settled, and the first fireworks were arched up in lovely, incandescent, multicolored, expanding parabolas. Over and over again above their upturned heads, far out over the bay, burst parachutes of convulsive color. Carolina kissed Robert. She hugged him and sighed and whispered into his ear, "What a sexual thing. Just think of a man bursting like that inside a woman." Detonated mushrooms of diamond and emerald glitter deployed, floated, and crashed into infinity. Snuggling her warm little nose into his neck, Carolina murmured, "When the world blows up, which I think it will be soon, I hope it happens like that."